Hello, today we're going to be talking about the impact of social media on mental health. Have you ever just opened social media to check one thing and then several hours later you notice you were still strolling? I think that's something that we all can relate to because social media has become a normal part of our everyday life. As a psychology student, I'm interested in how things we do every day can affect our mental health. For this speech, I looked at research about social media use, doom scrolling, and psychological well being. Today, I'm going to talk about how much time college students spend on social media, how excessive use can affect mental health, and some ways we can develop healthier social media habits. First, let's look at how much time some college students spend on social media. According to Omakabi and colleagues, in 2025, 62.4% of students reported 4 to 6 hours of social media use per day. Another 23.6% reported more than 6 hours of social media use per day. When you see those numbers, put it in perspective just how much of our day can be spent online. Social media isn't always a bad thing because some students use it for entertainment, school news, communication, and even business. The problem is too much time online can sometimes interfere with other responsibilities. And don't get me wrong, spending too much time or several hours online doesn't automatically mean that someone has a mental health problem, but certain patterns of excessive social media use can be associated with psychological distress. And this brings me to something called doom scrolling. Doom scrolling is basically when you continue looking at something negative or upsetting information online, even when you know it's making you feel stressed or overwhelmed. I think a lot of people have experienced this without realizing there was a name for it. According to a 2025 study by Cangulari, researchers studied 460 university students between the ages of 18 and 30. The study found an association between social media addiction and psychological distress. It also found a connection between social media addiction and doom scrolling. Also, you can see here social media can lead to repeated consuming negative content, and that pattern can increase psychological distress. Of course, that doesn't mean everyone who reads negative posts or news online will develop a mental health problem. Instead, it shows why it is important to pay attention to how social media makes us feel. So, what can we do about it? One of the simplest things we can do is become more aware of our social media habits. Pay attention to how much time we're consuming online and ask yourself, is social media interfering with my sleep, with my schoolwork, with my relationships, or other things I need to get done? A 2026 review by Ko Lee looked at social media use and the mental health of college students. The review showed that social media can be both a positive and negative effect. I think that's important. Social media itself isn't necessarily all good or all bad. How we use it matters. We can become more intentional about when we're using social media. We can recognize when we've been scrolling too long, and when the content we're looking at starts making us feel overwhelmed we can simply take a break. The goal isn't necessarily to stop using social media. It's about developing a healthier relationship with it. To conclude, social media has become a major part of everyday life. Some college students spend several hours a day using it, while social media has many benefits, excessive use and doom scrolling may be associated with psychological distress. That's why developing healthier digital habits is important. So the next time you pick up your phone to just stroll for a few minutes, pay attention to how long you stay there. Simply becoming more aware of how and why we use social media may be the first step towards creating a healthier relationship with it. Thank you.